I know it's been quite some time since I promised to make a follow-up on my Kydex holster video to actually go in and show you how we make the holsters. Well, it's been really hot outside, and since I do all of my work on those holsters in the garage, it's really just been too hot to work on a holster in the garage. Additionally, I just really haven't had time lately. Well, it's finally cooled off, and I've got a little spare time, so we're going to go in today and we're going to show you what it takes to actually form the Kydex, mold it around the gun, and make yourself a holster. Okay, today we're going to be doing a holster for a Kel-Tec P32. Weapon is cleared. Right, you're going to want to start out with a piece of Kydex that is roughly double the size of the weapon. I just happen to have this scrap laying around that is going to be exactly the size that I need. I guess I should tell you first the type holster we're going to be making. On these lighter pistols, I've found that for an inside the waistband, if you have a good heavy loop with a hook under for the belt, you can have a tuckable style holster with a single hook that will actually retain the weapon well, no looseness. So we're basically going to be modeling the same type of holster for the P32. I will make note that this type of holster with the one clip does require a fairly light weapon. I tried to make this style holster for a guy that had the Sig Sauer subcompact, which is roughly twice the weight of the Kel-Tec PF9, and he was not happy with it. As it rode in his belt, it continued to shift towards the slide because the slide was so heavy. The PF9 is a fairly evenly balanced between magazine and slide, and so when it's holstered, it actually rides pretty well right there. Personally, I would pocket a P32, but this is for a woman, and ladies' pockets aren't as large as what we men have. So she said she can't pocket this. She wants to have an inside waistband holster for it. So today we're going to go in and try to make one. Alright, once you have the Kydex in the toaster oven baking, while that's going on, you want to be sure and go ahead and get everything set up. Have your press ready to go, foam in place, the weapon ready to go in. Additionally, you want to have a nice heavy pair of gloves. The newer the better. Keep them clean. Keep anything off of the Kydex itself. The Kydex is going to be very hot when you go to pull it out, and it's going to be melty and bendy. Alright, I can see the Kydex starting to bend along the edges, so we're getting close to the right temperature. As you can see, when it comes out, it's very pliable. Lay it down, get the weapon in centered. And at this point, you want to get it into your press. And to get mine in tight, just use a big C-clamp. At this point, this is where the art portion of it comes in. I just sketch out the shape that I want the holster to take. Alright, once you've got it lined off where you want the basic shape to be, safety, actually just go in with a Dremel tool and cut off the excess. If you end up with some rough edges, don't worry about it. They'll sand right out. Actually, I just use the drum for rough shape. Any fine tuning shape. Any fine tuning shape, I'll do the sand paper myself. You really just need to get your rough shape closer. Now at this point, I'm going to draw out my shape through here, where on the front side only, I'll be cutting all the way through. And then at the seam, I'll go up so that I have the protective backing to protect your body from the slide. Alright, to cut only one side of the holster, you want to be able to place something thick in between the layers so that you make sure that you don't cut through to the other side. I normally will just take one of these gloves, slide it in. That way I've got some protective material between the two so that if I happen to go a little bit too deep, I'm not actually going to cut into the other side of my holster. Once again, rough this time because you're going to take a sand later and smooth this all out. Important part is you got basic shape. There's one for this. Now at this point, we can slide in. You can see you've got enough room to get a couple of fingers in there. You've still got a protective area here. We'll trim that out, make that look a little better. But it's going to protect your body from the slide. And still very tight retention on the holster. Alright, we've got one side done now. We're going to work on the opposite side. Now on this side, first thing we're going to do is smooth out along the edge here so that only the slide is covered, and then this will be extra material to help mold to the body. And we're going to try to cover the entire slide, so we're going to make a pretty aggressive cut through here to go down. Now you do want to be careful of your slide release, because if you're molded too tightly on your Kydex with that, when you go to slide your pistol out, the Kydex will hit the slide release, so you want to be sure that you go around it rather than on it. And then basically, once we get to right here, we're going to follow the contour of the other side. Again, we're going to hold this up as we finish it off. Now we can hear it precisely. One of the great things about Kydex is if you're cutting a straight line, You don't actually have to cut it, you can just score the Kydex and then bend it and break it off. And for the clip mount here, I am going to have to narrow this piece that I have a little bit, so we'll do that now. So you score a straight line, and I'll have to get some pliers. And if it's a larger piece, this is real easy. You just bend it. On a smaller piece, you will probably have to get some pliers to bend it. But you can see, as you bend along the score, it breaks it cleanly. And you've got a clean line. So at this point, what I'm looking at is we're going to take this piece of Kydex about right here. That'll give us a little cant. I'll try to hold it straight up. We'll give a little cant to it, since this will be a 4 o'clock position holster. Keep this inside so that it won't pinch right there. We'll trim this corner so that it rounds out. Round out this corner so there's nothing to stab. We're going to be bending at about this level right here. So basically from here up will be above the belt line. We'll bend it down and then come back up with a lip to catch the bottom of the belt. And we'll take a couple of Rivet and Chicago screws and go right here and right here to attach the clip. This will also be what holds the holster together tightly, and then you'll have from the top Chicago screw up to here that will be a tuckable area so that you can tuck in and hide the shirt between the clip and the holster itself. Alright, now at this point you're going to want to firmly secure the holster. I do use the metal slide of the weapon to help hold it. You need about 5 hands for this procedure here. Now at this point, with one, I will go ahead and clean this up and attach the first one so that I'm sure that it's lined up perfectly before I drill the second hole. Alright, to put the rivets in, you want to have the machine flared side of the rivet against the body so that it's a smoother piece there. Normally I would use a ball peen hammer, but I can't seem to find mine. Alright, so there's our first one. Tighten that up, and then we can go in and drill the second hole and do the same thing on it that we did on the first one. Alright, so I've gone and marked where I want my fold to be, where it will go over the waistband of the pants. The easiest way that I found to do this is with a heat gun, and just apply the heat directly to the area that you want to bend. Once you get it hot, I'll just use a shop rag so that you actually have the space that you would have for the waistband of the pants. Alright, for this step I actually like to get a belt, a typical belt that I would use. So once again, I'm just going to lay the belt right at my line, have it ready to fold over, and heat the Kydex. Alright, so now I've drawn me a little line here to show the pattern that I want. Want just a little half moon showing to clip on the underside of the belt. I'm going to take an old work glove to protect so that I don't cut too far. And we'll just use the Dremel again. Okay, now we have a small half moon. And this is the only thing that will show on the outside of the belt. And that just gives purchase so that when you pull to draw the weapon, the holster cannot come out. And now, with the exception of cleaning up a little bit more along the edges, we have a finished product. So you're tuckable, slide a shirt between there. This part will go over the waistline. This part hooks under the belt. This side towards the body. And you've got a good strong retention. Thank you guys for watching.